Today, I want to talk about whether Gary Gensler is about to resign as head of the SEC. You may have seen some rumors that he's planning to resign as soon as this month. So, are these rumors true? Are they entirely false? Or will he be forcibly removed by this new proposed bill? Hey, welcome to AMC Daily. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications by hitting the bell so you never miss any of our uploads and also enter our giveaway. But everyone remember, this is not a financial advice video. So Crypto Rover tweeted saying, breaking news. Anonymous officials of the SEC have reported that Chairman Gary Gensler is going to resign as early as next month. Whale Chart have added that this is reportedly following an internal investigation into Gary Gensler's activity. So this all started from this article, which I'm going to go through in a second. I'm going to go through this article, talk about whether the rumors are true or false, and then talk about whether Gary Gensler resigning is a good thing or a bad thing. So the article says the SEC sources confirmed Gary Gensler's resignation. It says in a stunning revelation, an anonymous official from the SEC has reportedly disclosed that Gary Gensler, the chairman of the SEC, has submitted his resignation following an internal investigation. The anonymous SEC official said Gary Gensler has resigned from his position as chairman of the SEC following an internal investigation into alleged misconduct. It says the details of the investigation are confidential, but the decision to step down underscores the seriousness of the findings. Another industry insider commented, saying the resignation of Gary Gensler in the wake of an internal investigation is deeply concerning. He said it calls into question the integrity and effectiveness of the SEC under his leadership. Another anonymous source familiar with the matter emphasized the importance of accountability in regulatory agencies. They said the SEC has a crucial role in maintaining the integrity of the financial markets. When the head of such an institution faces allegations serious enough to prompt resignation, it raises significant concerns about the regulatory framework and the enforcement of those rules. So this is interesting because it's apparently not just one singular individual source at the SEC, but from what I can make out, there's three individual separate people all talking about Gary Gensler's resignation. Now this was interestingly fairly quickly followed up by the SEC dismissing rumors of Chairman Gary Gensler's resignation. Now, on one hand, these three individual rumors could be completely false. Or maybe the SEC is just trying to sweep it under the carpet for now until they have a plan to replace him. There's been tons and tons of times over the years when the SEC, the Fed, or the US government, or anybody else for that matter, has addressed something and brushed under the carpet saying, nope, there is no evidence that ever happened. Only for a year or two later for the truth to come out and then for them to admit it and say, yep, that was indeed happening the entire time, not just in terms of the stock market or in terms of regulations, but pretty much any kind of news or politics always gets brushed under the rug. Saying that it never happened, only for a year or two later, the truth to come to light. So maybe these rumors of Gary Gensler resigning in the next few weeks are false, or maybe they're true, but something that isn't false is this new bill that's been introduced to remove Gary Gensler from his post. Warren Davidson and other senators have introduced the SEC Stabilization Act that would restructure the SEC and remove Chairman Gary Gensler from his post. As a result, many people were worried that Hester Peirce would likely replace Gary Gensler as head of the SEC. But Copy and Paste has explained why that wouldn't actually happen. He tweeted saying, the SEC chair is picked by the President of the United States. The nominee is usually picked from outside of the SEC. Hester Peirce is a Republican and is therefore highly unlikely to be Biden's pick if Gensler quits. Obviously, Hester Peirce being Republican and not a Democrat means she'd be unlikely to be picked by President Biden. However, whomever it is that takes the hilt as the head of the SEC will likely be no different than Gary Gensler, who is effectively just doing as he was told. I think it could be possible that Gary Gensler is being forced to resign after he's recently gone rogue and has started cracking down on short sellers. Many people over the last few weeks have all of a sudden expressed their displeasure for Gary Gensler, likely because he's potentially turning on Wall Street. Maybe it's good that Gary Gensler is currently going after short sellers, especially if he continues going after more short sellers and specifically larger short sellers. We do run the risk, if Gensler quits, that he's replaced by somebody that's equally as bad or even worse. But I suppose there's also risk on the other side, or the flip side, that Gary Gensler could be replaced by somebody that goes after short sellers even harder. Alternatively, the SEC could be restructured into a vehicle that is very, very productive at cracking down on short sellers, or a vehicle that is very, very unproductive. I guess at least with Gary Gensler, you know what you're going to get, and there's not necessarily a mystery in the air. However, one thing that isn't a mystery is AMC's cost of borrow rate being back over 1,000% today. Then Monday, we can see the cost of borrow average is again 991%, the cost of borrow maximum 1,000%, and the cost of borrow minimum, which is 551%. AMC is still on that threshold securities list, and therefore, whether Gary Gensler resigns the next few weeks or doesn't, AMC is still in a brilliant position for a squeeze. Something that is also very weird is the entire AMC's options chain for both call options and put options has been mysteriously cleared out. This isn't just the options for July, but it's options for July, August, September, December, and for 2024 and 2025. And it's now magically, mysteriously empty. Just a few days ago, there was hundreds of thousands of call options and put options both in the money and out of the money. Through the entire options chain, there was effectively millions of options that were being traded, whereas that's now reduced to pretty much less than 100,000 options cumulatively. There's even some options dates that have 0 options being traded whatsoever for an individual settlement date, like the 11 August or the 15 September. Now Travis is tweeting about how this is due to the change in Libor rate to the new benchmark rate. So I wonder if this has cleared out all institutional options entirely and has just left these retail options instead. I guess all the call options would be us, the AMC apes that still play call options, of which I guess there probably isn't many of us because most of us are just holding and buying more shares. And I guess on the put option side, you have these paid shills that are effectively being paid to spread misinformation on AMC and are likely trying to capitalize off that as well. I don't know what's actually caused the removal of pretty much the entire options chain for AMC, but it's very, very interesting that it's happened now of all times, when the settlement date for the AMC lawsuit is so close. Now, finally, I also want to talk about this new article, this new price prediction from Citigroup that is really giving Credit Suisse $1 vibes. The article says that AMC shares fall after Citigroup opens their downside 30-day catalyst watch for AMC, saying they see downside pressure in the coming days. Now, you may remember the last institution or the last bank thinking that AMC was going to drop in price was none other than Credit Suisse, which interestingly enough came back to haunt Credit Suisse because obviously they're still holding those toxic derivative liability swaps. AMC cheerleaders said if I was a bank, I'd be very careful with what I say against AMC. It's likely the banks that are predicting AMC to fall are likely those banks still holding toxic AMC derivatives, and they're not predicting AMC to fall, they're begging for it to fall. And that's why Phil tweeted at Charles Gasparino asking if he'd seen Credit Suisse lately, as they effectively collapsed and had to be taken over by UPS. So much for AMC falling in the ballpark of $1 to $0.95 because AMC is still going strong. But instead, we have these banks collapsing around us. Credit Suisse has already collapsed, and maybe the next victim is going to be Citigroup. Guys, that's all we have for you today. What is your opinion about AMC stock? Get involved and let us know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching.